Senier, and in this video we're going to be discussing the flu virus and many of the misconceptions that surround the vaccine for it. Many people choose not to get their vaccine each year because they claim that the flu vaccine gives them the flu, or that you don't need to get it every year. But of course this is not the case, and everyone should get their flu vaccine each year if you are able to. We'll be discussing the basic structure of the influenza virus, as well as the types of vaccines and what viruses the vaccine contains, as well as why the vaccine doesn't make you sick. And I'll also address some common misconceptions about the vaccine. And of course, lastly, we'll discuss where you're able to get the vaccine. So this is an artist's rendition of influenza. The protruding blue and white chunks are actually proteins that the virus forms, and what they do is it identifies the type of influenza that it is, and it's what allows it to enter the host cell in the body. Now each type of influenza has different types of proteins in the envelope, and this is what makes it so difficult to make an effective vaccine. An effective vaccine that wouldn't require you to get a new one yearly like we do now. So, there are 4 different types of influenza. The first being influenza A, H1N1, influenza A, H3N2, and there are 2 different types of influenza B that are also typically in this vaccine because they are the most common. Now, we do need to get the flu shot each year because the flu vaccine, not the flu vaccine, the influenza virus is, well, it communicates very well with other viruses, meaning that the outer structure as well as the internal RNA structure inside of the virus changes constantly. This makes it very difficult to make a vaccine that's just perfect, I guess. So, the vaccine itself cannot give you the flu because it's typically just an injection filled with the dead virus itself. Other vaccines just contain the proteins that are on the outside of the virus, so there's no virus at all, it's just the proteins. And the last type of vaccine is, of course, the weakened one, which everyone is, not everyone, but a lot of people freak out about because it does have a live virus, but it is so weak that it can't actually survive in your body. Now this is, of course, for the flu vaccine, so it can only survive at low temperatures in your nose, and then once it actually enters your body, it dies because it can't survive at higher temperatures. So, the way that the flu vaccine works, I can get this to focus here. Okay, so this is an artist's rendition of the virus inside of the vaccine, and in this case it is a dead virus, and you can see it's all broken up and mushy and stuff. So it is injected into the upper arm in adults and of course the upper thigh of babies. And what it does is it creates an immune response in your body. Now these are the white blood cells attacking the dead virus, and they form antibodies. Now after about 2 weeks, you have what are called memory cells in your body that are a type of white blood cell that hold on to these antibodies on the outside of themselves. So when they encounter the real virus, here, they can attack it very, very quickly. So this means that you will either have no symptoms really, or you'll kind of feel funky, or you will get pretty sick, but you are very unlikely to be hospitalized from the flu because you have had the vaccine itself. Now, a lot of people claim that they get sick the same day or the day after they get the flu shot, and this is because of the immune response that it forces your body to start. So your body, as a reaction to the flu vaccine, often gives you a fever, muscle aches, fatigue, because it's basically freaking out because it thinks it's under attack. So you're not actually sick. It's just your body thinking that you are, and it makes you feel sick. So some people also claim that they got the flu within a week of having the vaccine, so they think that they got the flu itself from the vaccine. However, as we discussed, the most common type is a dead or just protein-only vaccine. So there's no way that it can make you sick. However, it does take 2 weeks to take effect. So if you get sick before the 2 weeks, that is completely unrelated to the vaccine, and at that point, the vaccine cannot really help you. Also, it just can't get you sick. It's like saying that you can get a baby cow out of ground beef. It's dead. You can't get sick. And some people say that they got the flu well after they got the flu vaccine, past the 2 weeks. And unfortunately, this is possible. You could still get sick with the flu. But of course, as I've said already, you will not get nearly as sick with the flu if you have had the flu vaccine, because your body already has an idea of how to attack it. And a lot of people have been worried about getting the flu vaccine this year because they're concerned that the flu vaccine will make them more vulnerable to COVID-19, or that they will have a more severe case of COVID-19 because they've had the flu vaccine. And this is, of course, untrue as well. And there have been numerous studies into this already, and they have all disproven this. They are two completely different viruses, so getting a vaccine for one isn't going to make you more vulnerable to the other. And in fact, it's actually more important than ever to get your flu shot during the COVID-19 pandemic, because so many people are already taking up space in the hospital. You really don't want to get the flu virus and become hospitalized, which would take a bed away from someone with COVID-19 as well. Another argument is that some people can't get the flu vaccine, or that they're worried that they'll have a very bad reaction to it. And this is very uncommon. And really, the type of people who can't get the flu vaccine are typically babies who are younger than 6 months old, very, very elderly people, people who have a compromised immune system, and those who are allergic to the vaccine itself. And that is just a bigger reason to get vaccinated, because then you won't be nearly as able to infect babies and elderly people and people with compromised immune systems. So it's even more important to get vaccinated to protect other people. Now, you can get your flu shot in so many different places now. It is usually free and it's readily available at any doctor's office. You don't need an appointment. You can just walk in and ask for a flu shot. They'll ask you a couple questions and they'll poke you for free, you know. A lot of Walgreens and CVS and other pharmacies also offer a flu shot for free. So this is not something that you have to typically pay for, and if they want you to pay for it, then you could just go down the street and find another place who will give it to you for free. And the flu shot really doesn't hurt. You're not gonna give birth to a baby or something. It's not a big deal. Just poke you for a second, your arm will be sore for a few days, and that's it. So that is why you need to get your flu shot, and that the flu vaccine does not give you the flu itself. It is impossible for that to happen. Now, that was the basic structure of the flu virus, and the proteins on it that are included in the vaccine typically. I have talked to you about the different viruses that the vaccine typically contains to protect you from the flu each year. And the reason that you need to get the flu vaccine each year is because the flu virus is definitely changes drastically each year, and they communicate with one another very well, and they change those proteins on the outside of themselves constantly. And it's just, you are far better off risking a complication of the flu virus than getting the flu virus itself. It is deadly, and it kills thousands of people every year. And again, you can get this flu vaccine virtually anywhere. It is very easy to find a place to get vaccinated. That is the end of my speech.